It's important to have an experienced and competent lawyer on your side negotiating a commercial lease, because there's no standard documentation, and just a difference of a few words in a document can make an enormous financial difference to the client at a subsequent time. So you need to make sure that the document reflects the intention of the parties, particularly the intention of the tenant. And the other thing that's important about making sure the documentation is right is that often commercial leases are assigned or the business is sold, and part of that sale is the assignment of the commercial lease. And that process will always magnify any problems there are in the document. So you might have had a document that seemed to be okay for 3 years, but then you go to sell the business or assign the lease, and the assignee comes in with their lawyers and says, what about this issue in the lease? And then it's a problem. Our experience at Osbornes, we try and make sure the advice we give to our client is practical. And we deal with the main commercial terms of the lease, particularly the financial terms, and we give advice to our clients that's clear, succinct and readily understandable. So we'll concentrate on the parties, whether there's a guarantor, we focus on the property, and then we deal with the main financial issues. Rent increases, outgoings, security and the like. In commercial leasing in Sydney, in the last decade or so, incentives have become a very important and quite complex component of commercial leasing. And it's absolutely essential for any prospective tenant that they understand what the terms of the incentive are, and they make sure that certain conditions are met in relation to the incentive. So the incentive will often run at something in the order of 20% of the total lease payments under the lease, and that incentive will sometimes be applied as a contribution to fit out and as a rent-free period, either taken at the commencement of the lease or amortised over the term. And it's very important as an advisor for commercial tenants that you get this aspect of the transaction right. In particular, there are important taxation consequences that apply in relation to incentives that are given for a fit out, and you've got to make sure that that is correct. And then there are considerations that apply to what happens if the tenant breaches the lease and how the incentive is dealt with. And we've had years of experience acting for both tenants and landlords in relation to incentives, and we can provide comprehensive advice on this issue to clients.